The meeting. Anyone desiring to speak on any item on the agenda is invited to do so, but we're limited to 3 minutes. After being recognized by the chairman, please state your name and address for the record. Anyone desiring to speak for a longer period of time should make arrangements with the city clerk prior to the meeting. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the chambers back there. The Planning Commission reserves the right to adjourn into executive session on any agenda item per Nebraska Right Statute 84-1410. A copy of all the reproductive written material to be discussed at this meeting is available for examination or copying. The podium is located in the front of the chamber. For comments, again, please state your name and address for the record. Christy, would you roll call?
Larry?
Here.
Scott?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Brian?
Here.
Kyle?
Here.
Danielle? Here. Jeremy?
Here.
Greg?
Yes.
Jim?
Here. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. I have proof of publication right here. I'll open the public hearing on item 4A, conditional use permit, Roseanne Tucker for the quarry, sand and gravel extraction. This is in transitional ag, which is a permitted thing. Open the public hearing. Bruin, do you want to start?
Yeah. So, Larry and I met last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't know, flies by. With the company who's pulling this conditional use permit, we had some questions for him, wanted to double check some items. The homeowners around there discussed I don't want to call it a levee, it's a below sand kind of natural levee, which was our concern. Per MSHA, they actually have to put a 4-foot boundary around the entire mine anyways, so although it's going to get removed, it's going to be added 4 feet around the mine. Probably better than what it previously is, just below sand versus something else. So that was discussed about. We also talked about a 100-foot buffer between property lines and the proposed, I'm going to call it a lake gravel mining pit. Just a reminder, MSHA, there's no requirement that they couldn't go directly to the property line. It was up to them to say, hey, we're just going to do this additional 100 feet there's some intention to down the road of potentially selling it to a developer. As you guys know, you have to put in a 32-foot road, then sidewalks, then an easement, and then a house. So it doesn't make sense to push this lake all the way up to the property line if you're way down the road, want to sell lots. So that was kind of my other concern. As Larry stated, quarry, sand, and gravel extraction is conditional use permit under transitional ag. We're good there. And then I got with Greg today. Some of the required things we'll need is a state grading permit, Nebraska floodplain development application permit, just because there's fill, dredging plan and grading plan, which is part of the Nebraska floodplain development application, 404, which is a wetlands, if applicable. Essentially, the people who are pulling this, they would just contact an engineer. They would look at the land and say, hey, either there is a wetland thing, we have to do something, or there isn't, and then it's taken care of. And then an ingress and egress easement for access of truck traffic to 264th. I got a letter yesterday, an email with a letter attached regarding Douglas County, and Douglas County stated any new or revised driveway connections to 270th Street would require a permit from this office. The developer would be required to pave a portion of 270th Street and or Blondo Street. The limits of the paving is dependent on an option of the Douglas County Attorney's Office and the ability of the Douglas County Engineer's Office to set weight limits on county roads. Utilizing weight limits to force heavier truck traffic to predetermined routes could reduce the amount of paving required. When I brought this up with the applicants last week, they said they didn't want to pave, so they already own the land to the east. So instead, they're just going to flip their, correct me if I'm wrong, the applicants are there, but they're just going to flip the mine operation 180 degrees and just run the truck traffic out to 264th. So that way they won't affect I don't know what that road is, but
270.
that one, 270th. Yep, so that's just a quick, kind of quick update of, what we had. So, and they, like I said, they talked with Douglas County. So, and then the map that you guys have there, my suggestion is, obviously, we just add that to the conditional use, so we have something to go back on, but that map shows 100 feet of property that they don't own. That's why that little east corner shows it. There's no 100-foot barrier because they own that property as well, so.
Is this gonna be a 24/7 or?
No. If you guys want to speak on that a little bit more, but, yeah, that's last mine, but no, that's not the case, so.
Any questions for Arun?
Yeah.
Greg, do you have anything on this?
Not yet.
Would you guys like to speak?
I'm more concerned in timing.
Well, we'll let the developers, if you want to say something.
Let them.
Did you know that? I would do.
My name's Sean Leahy. I'm the mine operator and one of the family members that own the small company. All we're here to do, we're not here to rustle a bunch of feathers. We've been in business for 14 years. It's a small company. It's me and 3 other employees. We work Monday through Friday, 7 to 4:30. All we're trying to do is continue our business, which was previously zoned sand and gravel 20 years ago. Now, since Valley's jurisdiction expanded, somehow that got lost, and we're here to get it set up for you guys so we continue our operation. And I'm more than happy to work with, you know, the people who live in Timber Lodge Lake. I'm just a little guy, I'm not used to doing this. I just run a mine for the family. In 14 years, I've never received a complaint from the city of Valley, nor any of the homeowners. And my door's always open, my number's on the sign in the front. We're willing to do whatever it takes just to continue our small business and pump some sand and gravel. And I'll be willing to answer any other questions you guys have later on.
You want to talk about MSHA a little bit, what they do to you? It's worse than.
MSHA is mine safety and health. They're the OSHA of the mining industry. It's very rigorous. It's the worst part of my job, staying in compliance with the federal government. Some of the limitations they put on me are a lot worse than what you guys can do or you with complaints have. I mean, safety, I can be held liable. If someone gets hurt, I can be put in jail. So it's very strict governing safety policy for my workers and the people around.
I got a question for you. Are you gonna run the trucks in on 264th Street?
Yes, the same.
Are you gonna run them all the way across then, or where's your stockpile gonna be from the new pit?
It will be on the new property right in the middle.
Okay, that'd be the stockpile. So you're gonna bring truck and pups all the way from 264th Street over there to load?
Yes,
Through that back, where that berm is on the,
Where the blow sand was.
it'll go by this blow sand ridge. Somehow, we haven't decided yet. Since they shot down the gravel road, which I understand, I live on a gravel road, and it would be bad. When they wanted us to pave it, that was a deal breaker.
so you're gonna load the whole deal out of there and then run it across your
Through the
field where
existing-
it's at now?
Yes.
That creates a lot of dust for our homes in our.
Yeah, that's what.
That's the dust
You know,
control
when you
issue.
build that berm there right on the south side of Timber Lodge Lake, you know where the berm is, and then you got your road there that you're running in there now.
Yes.
Okay, you run it. You know, if you look, and I'm not saying anything about you guys' berm, but I am kinda. If you look at what, Martin Marietta did with theirs, they put a lot of grass on top of that and everything. It's real good. The berm is really nice to where they don't get a lot coming across there. I'm just saying if they could, you know, when they build these berms, if they could put something on top of the berms, other than just letting it grow into weeds. I'm just saying.
I understand, and that's something I'd be willing to take in consideration.
Because what we're all complaining about is we get a lot of dust, a lot of, even the sand coming, when we get the south wind, all that sand that they got piled, that you guys got piled up there for your storage there, is blowing right across there. Sometimes when you go out on 264th Street, if the wind is from the west, you can't even see across 264th Street going south there.
I understand that, but I'm also not the only mine there.
I know you're not, well, that's Graske's, you're not Graske's then.
Yes, I am.
You're Graske's, okay, well,
Across the street's Martin Marietta.
yeah, but the sand that I'm talking about is coming from the west. Like when we get out of the southwest or whatever, well, you can't even see down 264th Street then. And I don't know how you could even prevent that unless you put water on top of that, but it's just when the wind comes up, and now that you're gonna be running those trucks up and down there, we're gonna get a lot.
More trucks than there are now.
Pardon me?
The traffic isn't gonna be any more trucks.
Yeah,
than we have
but you don't have truck and pups coming all the way across there from the east to the west to get to that other place over there. And you're gonna have more truck traffic in there now. I don't know, you've got a lot of straight trucks, I know, but you also got side dumps going in there and that, like that. I'm just saying, when you start running the trucks across there like that, it's gonna be a lot more dust and sand coming from the south over to us. That's because I thought you guys was gonna come in off of west, on the west side, that west road, what is that, 270th?
Right,
And they said you couldn't do that now.
they want me to pave it.
But, I know, what was the weight limit on that?
They don't know yet.
But they,
It's not wide enough, so.
Just as bad as you guys are getting.
was that?
I said, then we'd be dusted out just as bad as you're talking.
Where are you guys at?
270.
Oh, okay, so you're over
We
there on
have
that.
42 homes or 44.
So you're the guys that, I don't know who lives over there.
We do.
We're
I
the
do.
last
You guys,
house on
so
the west.
you're relieved now.
Yeah. We have 42 homes.
Here's the other thing you're not considering, is we already have a business on that street, and that traffic alone would put lots of
Which
people.
business is yours now?
The storage, not mine,
The storage?
storage facility there,
Yeah.
and they are busy all the time.
And we cannot do.
Well,
say you can have-
I don't know, there's no way,
It's all the way.
you know, it
to
is
the
where we
red.
live, so
Really.
that's,
Oh, yeah. I'm on the far end of the lake and I just don't think.
May I raise a point of order? Are we allowed to like get up and discuss, or is this just gonna be?
Well, I thought
open?
this was easier than you coming up and then him sitting out there and answering your questions.
Okay, all right.
Now, you should raise your hand and I'll call on you. Let's do it that way. And go ahead.
My name is Sandra Wendell. I'm with Timber Lodge Lake. There's quite a group of us here. Sean, we would love to work with you, but I think we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here because they haven't even approved the zoning change, have you?
There's no zoning change.
There's no zoning change. So it's already going to be?
This is transitional ag,
Okay,
and in transitional ag, you can extract sand and gravel. We require a conditional use permit.
okay.
Now,
so
when we did Mallard Landing, and when we did Valley Shores, at that time, we wanted to do, they couldn't pump after 10 o'clock. They had to use electric dredges or what we did, that's the things we have to figure out we're gonna put on a conditional use permit because they get one.
Okay, so it's happening. It's a done deal.
Well, and that's why we're listening to you folks.
Okay.
What do we want on the conditional use permit?
Okay,
You've already answered the question, they're not gonna pump at night. You know, we'll put that in there.
all right.
We'll put this in here on the 100-foot.
All right, now, you know, Sean, you said that you haven't heard anything from people to complain. Well, we didn't, I guess, really know how to complain to you. And I'd be happy to show you my sandblasting. You know, we have log cabins, and mine faces south, as does these guys. And it's like we have to redo those sides way more often than we do the rest of our cabins because it's like sandblasting. So I guess my question is about mitigation. And, you know, I mean, you can't do anything about Nebraska winds, I get that, okay? But how can you mitigate that sand blowing onto our properties?
We can't, how can,
Yeah, I can't.
You can't plant something there. I mean, the berm that you have on the south, it's just all weeds and it's not really stopping the sun.
But the weeds that grow on that berm are holding a lot of that down for you guys.
Well, I'm.
If I were to knock that down and mow it,
No, I'm not saying that you should. I'm just asking, what do other people do to mitigate the blowing of the sand? Because now we're getting it from the south, and if you're mining to the west of us, then we're gonna hope for north winds, okay? Here's my other question, and I will not use up my 3 minutes. I'm sure you saw the article in the paper about the quality of the aggregate that's coming out of the ground in the Platte River Valley, and that it's causing the streets of Omaha to decay and it's having problems with Portland cement.
that's not due to the aggregate itself.
So the article in the paper was
The
incorrect.
dirt with the aggregate, improper washing and prep. And that's not the kind of aggregate I make. I just make road gravel. I don't make concrete sand.
Okay, so you have nothing to do with the bad aggregate that's going
I
into
do
the
not.
Omaha roads? Okay,
For aggregate, they have to test it, and it goes through a rigorous thing to test it. If they're saying this passed and it's bad, that's not from where you get it.
from the product, it's another process down the road?
Yep.
Down the road, okay. All right, so again, our question is mitigation, and, who do we complain to? How do we get a hold of somebody at MSHA? Who oversees you? We'd love to have that information because we'll hold your feet to the fire.
But you can't complain to MSHA about the wind blowing.
Of course not,
I mean,
But
so
if you-
there's
if we
nothing we can do.
I understand that.
Eldon Peterson has the same problem over there with, who's pumping the other side?
Martin Marietta,
Same problem.
all right. Well, we just, we'd like to know
We understand.
who the oversight is. That would be the important thing to know.
You have a question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Say, will you stand up? And then say who you
My
are.
name's Eric Sewing, I'm with Timber Lodge. I don't know if City of Valley or Douglas County or EMSA requires any dust control permits,
A what?
dust control permit.
Only if
When
they
we do a
would,
lot of large grading,
they used to
projects, I'm
require
sure we have to have-
before they required, asphalting those county roads, they had to spray them with something to keep the dust down on the roads, but they don't do that anymore apparently.
Not that I know.
no, I know, but I mean, like you said, you can't control the wind, but
Yeah,
there are controls that you can put in place to try and, water trucks that control dust.
MSHA has,
4-foot berm is not gonna stop sand from blowing, I mean,
well,
that's,
nothing is. I can't control.
I mean, a larger, it's probably too late at this point, I mean, a larger shelter, but like you said, yes, the weeds on top of the berm help. I don't know if there's any type of pines you can put up that stops materials from blowing through too. But the big thing too is the dust, I mean, on a day, I mean, I don't know, there's no agency that has a dust control permit on these.
Years ago, before there was no-till, can you remember what it looked like around here?
still does, huh?
It was an absolute dust storm. It was a dust bowl, Oklahoma's best. And then they went to no-till, and that knocked down some of it. But right now, we are in such a huge expansion of building development here in Valley that you can drive within a 2-mile area around your house, and you will see dust storms and dirt storms in the last 2 months. Horrendous. And then last fall, it seems like one day it's out of the east, the next day it's out of the south, the next day it's out of the west, the next day it's out of the north. The wind is just causing all kinds of problems, and to try to water a huge parcel of ground that you're trying to develop is not possible. You can't fill the truck fast enough and drive across fast enough to keep it wet long enough. And then when you quit on Friday, by Saturday noon, it's dry and it's going until Monday if you do it again. So for somebody to do that 24/7 is, it's too big of an ask.
I mean, there's a lot of municipalities that require dust control permits when they're doing large grading operations, so it can
I
be
can see it.
controlled to an extent.
I can see it in inner cities where you have a lot of wind block and you have a lot of buildings and trees and things like that, but out here we are open plains.
And I understand it, but what I'm saying is it can be controlled somewhat. It shouldn't just be a free-for-all to let the wind blow, and because it's windy here in Nebraska, that hey, let it blow around. I mean, it's conditional use, so that's why we're bringing up, there should be some conditions to this.
Well, I was stationed in Wichita for 2 years, and I think it blows more here than it did down there.
Yeah, and I agree, I mean,
Wind.
I'm in construction too, and
We can't
the
really.
wind
put that-
blows, it's tough.
I recently did a deal, I don't know if this will make a difference or not, I recently did a deal in Omaha where there was a concrete crushing plant, they had these machines that the city required that sprayed.
Misting machines,
Misting
yep.
machine, yeah.
When they tear down like the
And I don't
Civic
know, this is
Auditorium,
probably
they
too
had to
big
run
for that
those
to be effective.
24/7, which I understand that's
Yeah.
tough, but
That's too big.
just something to help with
You can't.
the dust. I know you can't run, like, on a big grading operation, they'll spray the water trucks down, that's dirt, the water stays for a while, sand it's not going to. I mean,
It's
it's
sticking to
gone,
tires.
but, like, I don't know.
Let me
have
call
a
on,
couple
let me
of
call on
those
somebody else here, John, one of these.
I'm
Please
Tom
stand,
Burton.
please stand up, sir, state your name and address. Well, I know where you're from.
I'm in the Timber Lodge area, I'm Tom Burton, ex-Navy areas. In terms of on 100 foot, I know he's on the other side of the barbed wire fence, I guess, what you're talking about, going up the hill. Do we kill all those trees that are up on the top? That's really nice buffer, and it's, you know, we see a lot of eagles and birds over there and owls. That I can't answer at this time, I don't know yet. Because that area's nice and it's sort of, you know, it actually raises a bit higher. Years ago, when we first zoned this for aggregate, we made a deal with, who?
Timber Lodge, right?
Yeah,
Oh, Mr. Balmer?
so we sold you a 100-foot buffer.
Yes, and it is deed restricted to where that is the 100-foot buffer.
Yes, and I'm, under free will, I'm doing another 100-foot buffer
That's great.
along your west property line.
West of that?
Yes,
West of what Kip owns, you're going another 100?
correct, another 100 feet.
Maybe that'll save the trees then.
Yeah, that's right there.
Trees are waiting on that.
Pretty close to the
The
bottom.
trees are further
We
than
want to
100
keep
feet.
the trees as much as we possibly can, I mean, it adds value.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
does,
say,
I
when
mean,
you build
I can't
houses.
say that every single tree is gonna be saved, but
Right.
we really want to save as many trees as we possibly can.
Right.
That line of trees will have to go though to pump your
Well,
lake.
some of it probably will,
Realistically.
Realistically, I mean.
right?
Okay, any other questions besides wind and trees?
I got just one quick one. So you know where our road runs north and south there
Yes,
on Timber Lodge Lake? The
Yes.
whole length of it? So you're really gonna be 200 feet to the west of that?
Yes.
Yes,
from that 100-foot buffer that you already have,
You're gonna be another?
another 100 feet.
Are you putting in a berm?
So is that after you
I will
line?
I will not disturb that 100 foot of the berm that's already there,
You're not?
no.
You mean the 100 foot that Kip owns or the 100 foot that you're gonna give us?
Can't touch Kips.
It'd be,
No,
it'd
the
be
next
200 feet.
Both, 200 feet from,
From our road, you're not gonna disturb that?
correct.
Oh, okay, I got nothing else to say.
And again,
What?
and again, it's gonna be pumped for development.
Huh?
It's gonna be pumped for development, so there'll be a big lake in there, and someday, somebody will come along and put houses in there.
But what I'm saying is you're 200 feet away from our road then.
Yeah.
You're not gonna mine that. That's
No.
blow, you know what that is in there, that's all blow
I
stuff.
know exactly what it is,
Okay, you're not gonna dig
Yeah.
that out?
no.
Really? Cause that's all got grass on and everything, that'll help the,
There's not a big market for the blow sand.
pardon me?
There's not a big market for the blow sand, the natural blow sand.
Used to be years ago.
Now, if you wanted to extract it and dry it, sandblast sand, but
Okay.
that's not what I do.
Okay.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. I need your name, please.
Mine,
Yes.
Ron Bratcher.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he drives sand and gravel truck.
Now, you had to say that, didn't you?
They're used to, maybe used to.
And do you live at Timber Lodge as well?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We need to move on here. Any other questions that have been asked?
Kip Baumert, I'm with Timber Lodge, and I'm the one that dealt with these guys 20 years ago. And yeah, you've got the 100 feet, I acknowledge all that, that's fine, and it's great to hear you're going up another 100 feet. That's good news to me. Are you gonna put up a berm like you did to the south?
An additional to help with the dust.
On the south
On the
My
west-
south property
on the
line?
west, yeah, where you put up on the south bus, you're gonna put one up on.
Everywhere there's water, there will be a berm around the lake. That's at least 4 foot high.
Okay,
And I am, through the federal government, I have to do that. It's a safety deal.
okay, and then timing wise, what are you guys' plan, and are you gonna put the plant to the west of us, or is the plant gonna stay where it's
The
at?
plant will go to the west of you guys,
Okay,
about in the middle of the property.
okay. I know that this is a really long-term project, but timing wise, what are you looking at?
10 to 15 years,
That's kind of what I thought.
maybe quicker.
Depends on demand.
Well, right now I can't pump it fast enough, so it could go quicker.
I asked that question once, and the answer was, how much concrete they gonna sell?
Yeah.
How many gravel roads they gonna cover? That'll tell you how fast we're gonna pump.
Yeah, the reason I asked for the berm, because that rise in the land sure protected us in the last flood. So,
You folks have some really beautiful property out there.
Yes, we
I
do.
just drove through there in preparation for this, and it's really, really nice.
I've worked out here for 25 years. I love the area, the community, the wildlife. I enjoy nothing more being at work, and I get a firsthand look at the wildlife, the birds, the coyotes, the deer. And as long as I've done it, I have seen no impact on the
I'll make a
wildlife.
motion.
It increased it more than I would say it hurt.
And I'm gonna finish by saying, I'm not against your project. I don't think any of us are totally against the project. But you're generally at the plant,
Yes,
so
every
if we
day.
had any questions, we can stop by.
Come into the office, I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk with you
Okay.
and do whatever I can. Like I said, I'm just here to make a living. I'm not here to make you guys mad.
Are you gonna keep doing the south, mining the south too? So we have two active sites?
No, there'll only be one. I've run out of ground to pump there. That's why I need to move the operation.
Okay, so eventually you're gonna pump them together though, aren't you?
Yes.
You're still gonna sell that sand and stockpile down there, aren't you? The
That'll go away.
hill sand?
Yes.
You're still selling that?
So we will get some relief from the south winds?
Yep.
Okay, we
Yes,
have-
as soon as that sand's gone, then I'll cover it with dirt and be done with it.
Good.
okay, we have to move on this item. Anything else from the board here? With Bruin or Greg or anybody? Or Sean?
Good night, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I'll close the public hearing, discussion, and questions of planning commission members. Any other questions or anything?
I think everything has to go through the proper channels as usual.
Yep, and I'll add the items that we mentioned, or that I mentioned through here, they're all in a list here that I've got, so.
Every question, motion?
I would make a motion to approve. A conditional use permit.
We have any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Oh, we better do a voice vote.
Larry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Brian made the motion.
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
All in favor, motion carried. Thank you. This will go to the city council. We make a recommendation to the city council to approve this. The city council meeting is, what is the next one? May 14th. May 14th.
Larry, I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, the second item is the conditional use permit for KPMG Partners LLC for a temporary asphalt plant with material piles. This is the second or third one of these that we've done. Ruin, you got something?
I got a little extra, of course, it's last minute.
So when are you gonna move your grid?
It's kind of a share.
I'm trying to save the environment, right?
I know, right? I didn't get it soon enough.
I live right there on the corner.
So, this is a temporary asphalt plant out on 300th Street. My comment to them was, since they're on Douglas County, they need to get.
Guys,
Can we?
Guys, can you move outside, please?
Sergeant at Arms, we have a Sergeant at Arms.
So,
Sergeant.
I just told them, you're on Douglas County, you need to get with Douglas County. They reached out to Douglas County, they gave me a map, which is on the back of what you can see, essentially with their proposed drive. And what I handed to you, I don't know if there's a date on this, but I got this yesterday. But it's the permit with Douglas County. So my only comment on this is, again, the conditional use is any new or revised driveway connection will require a permit from this office. They already have one, but let's just throw in the conditional use. And then the second one, the permit from Douglas County shows an end date of March 2025. So if my suggestion is we make this conditional use permit good until March 2025. I think they only want till the end of the year, but let's not give them an indefinite one. If they've got through March 2025 from Douglas County, I think we just match that.
Makes it temporary.
Yeah, and then if March 2025 rolls around and they want to continue, we'll do this again. But they have the permit from Douglas County. It shows their proposed truck route, shows their proposed drive. My main concern was Douglas County on this, so.
These guys are good to work with. Last time somebody wanted to put on County Road 300, there was some kickback, and they said, well, fine, we'll move it all the way down to the other end. So they've been great to work with.
Yeah, so I don't have too much, my only concern was Douglas County, and they reached out to Douglas County. Douglas County sent me a letter involving them as well, and then they also attached this permit, so they've already done kind of everything that they're supposed to, really.
What's the asphalt plant for?
That I don't, do you?
I mean, but
For a certain project.
usually they set it up for a certain project.
I think it's Highway 77.
Okay,
It's gotta be close, I'm sure.
that's what I was wondering, what
I
project
mean,
it is. and
we'll probably get some asphalt from there, I'm assuming,
What's
the
the,
city.
They do a city contract this year too.
when they say temporary, what does that mean? 10 to 15 years?
Well, that's where,
Like the same?
March 2025.
yeah, March 2025 is in this,
Okay.
is
Is that what
in,
it says? So they have to be out of there by then?
Yeah.
well, so if you look at the permit,
Unless they get it. Okay.
and that was my comment.
They could extend.
Sure, but I think we make ours match what the Douglas County temporary permit goes to, and then if they wanna come back next year, they come back, they get a new Douglas County permit, maybe we don't like what they've been doing the last year and we put some more conditions on, but, as of right now, I think that's my suggestion is, permit from Douglas County and then March 2025 end date,
Handed us.
so.
So the only thing I have a question about is, there's a new business on that corner that's a wedding venue. Lots of people outside.
That's pretty far away.
Yeah, it's,
This is west of Illinois.
I said,
Further up the road.
I said 300, I didn't mean 300.
Okay,
It's up on Rainwood.
Yeah, this is
So
right
it's-
across from the entrance to Warner.
okay.
Yeah, sorry, that's my fault. It's
I
not
was gonna say,
300.
that's where it was before.
No,
Was up the road,
it's way up
down.
that Rainwood, that small little, and they're just moving from the north side to Rainwood to the south side.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, good.
It used to be right here, but they pumped that now.
Yeah.
What hours, do we know what hours? They're just gonna be running normal hours, correct?
I would assume so. If you want me to put times in here that they can work, they're not really close to anything, so I'm not sure. But we have regular sound ordinances anyways of 7 to 7, so,
I would think that would cover it.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, sometimes they do pour overnight.
Right.
Or lay asphalt.
And then there's sound, but if they're, I don't know how loud that equipment is, if they're just,
No idea.
yeah, keeping it warm and dumping it into the truck, so.
Any questions in the room? Or Greg, just in case you get Greg to say something?
Not
He
talking.
didn't show up.
He's not
I'm
talking.
loading the root up with the information.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, I open and close the public hearing. Public comment, oh, Jared, or Bill.
I'm Bill Scott. My name is Chuck.
Oh, come up here, sir.
You're gonna come down now.
My name is Chuck Odo, and I own the property Countryside Venue on 300th Street and West Wrightsworth Road. And I have a couple questions here as far as, first of all, we already talked about the sound ordinance here, because we have weddings up there, we have the venue, and we have graduations and birthday parties throughout the week and so forth. But will the the sound, is this like on grinding the asphalt? Is that what that is? Or maybe explain a little bit to me about that.
They're not very loud, are they?
This is just the mixing, I'll be real rough, it's the mixing in a hopper.
It's a hot plant.
Oh, they're not gonna bring in
They're
trucks
making
of,
They're not
They're
grinding
making
it.
pardon?
They're making it.
They're making it there.
They
They're
bring
not bringing
everything
in
in.
trucks full of old asphalt and grinding it and making a lot of noise and all that then. What about, is it gonna be any heat or anything like smell for?
No smell.
I mean,
The new plants don't have smell.
Probably oil smell, potentially.
They haven't. Really?
they smell like fresh asphalt.
But not like hot asphalt like they have on roads?
Like they patch the roads
I mean,
with.
that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, it's not like a tar product, it's they do it differently now,
It'd be oil-based.
oil-based.
Okay, then another question, what about, we've all talked enough about the wind. I don't wanna go there, but.
We still can't fix that.
Well, I know that, but I'm just thinking of since I'm on 300th and West Wrightsmith, this is quite a ways up at Rainwood, that grindings or whatever is out there, moving down towards Countryside Venue.
Oh, like if they have a stockpile,
That's what I was thinking
sit on the
there.
ground?
It's
I don't
pretty
see it, but I gotta ask the question.
heavy. It's pretty
I
heavy
mean,
stuff.
we used to travel that Richmond Road all the time, back and forth from Fremont when they were doing it before, and
Yeah.
really never noticed a smell when you went by it, even
Okay,
in the wintertime with the wind blowing out of the north.
well, I'm pretty sure the asphalt is heavier than the sand,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking that's not gonna be an issue there,
Now, if you do see something come up, be sure and talk to Room. Like they said, they're very accommodating.
but, okay.
No, they've been
You
very
bet,
accommodating.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a big corporation and they want to get along.
Absolutely, okay.
and Greg just pulled up, it's a half mile away, you said?
Yeah, it's probably, yeah, it's,
And they're right in the corner, they're not
right,
on that whole property, they're just right on that.
yeah, I have this right here that was sent to me, thank you.
Yep.
And then, 3 of 2025, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bill? You just like coming to these meetings, don't you?
Yeah.
Better than TV, isn't it?
Yeah, entertainment. I'm Bill Snyder, 2525 East Third Tremont. And as far as I'm concerned, I have nothing against this. You know, it actually looks to me like a good fit with the sand and gravel place. The only thing I kind of wonder, just a procedural deal, is how come you're saying the county gave a permit? How come we weren't notified if you guys have to discuss it? How come the county didn't have to notify me?
It's in our jurisdiction.
Yeah, but having the county was involved.
Well, it's a county ground and it's their permit, but it's in our jurisdiction, so
It's their road,
it's their road.
It's a county road.
Like I said, this ain't really making any difference to me. I'm just wondering on the procedure.
Yeah.
And a little bit like that map you guys send out. I wish we had a little more information than just that was pretty.
Well, it shows where it's gonna go. I mean,
Yeah, but you're showing where it's gonna go as far as the whole location. Not pinpointing the exact.
Yeah, what we just got tonight's a little different.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
But like I say, it's no real issue to me. It just looks like a good fit, but.
No, what we've got from Room tonight shows exact place they're gonna put it.
Yeah, when you guys are getting that, I guess I'm not, it's kind of, I kind of pretty much knew where it would go, so whichever way the wind blows tonight, I guess.
Thanks, Bill.
A little bit past there.
See you next month.
I'm gonna go to city council first, be like the city council. All right, any other questions from anybody? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hi there, I'm Carly Dana. I'm on the board at Ginger Cove Lake Development out there, and then I also represent the Harbor Valley Shores, as my family owns that property as well. So when I heard about this, kind of wanted to come get some more information to make sure both those, our community that I live in and then the property we own, are not going to be impacted adversely by smell, pollution, that kind of stuff. Especially with water tables, we're concerned, is there leaching? If they're storing a bunch of material on site, is there risk to the leaching into the groundwater? A pretty high water table, very porous soil, being mostly sand. What are the impacts of that You know, I live due south, so pretty much, or southwest, southeast of it, so are we gonna have odors all summer? You're talking about giving them a year-long permit, you know, it's gonna be water, damage to the water table.
We've established that these asphalt plants don't have hardly any smell. They used to, but they don't anymore.
But you said they're gonna heat it up, how can we?
Well, like Brian said, he went by there for a whole year, and then we've had, like, this is like the third one we've had here.
Third one, okay,
Yeah.
In the same location.
They only make what they are gonna haul away.
Yeah.
okay, so it's
So-
not like huge piles of,
They'll take
Stuff
the-
stored on
they'll
site.
take the aggregate like sand,
okay,
except it's black, and they'll put it in the vat, add their chemicals, that gets mixed up, and then it goes in the truck to the site. So whatever's left over, if they don't use, it's gonna get hard and they can't, like.
okay, so it's not gonna be a massive operation, it's gonna be more localized?
They're good size, but they're so well managed that I think, you know, like the cost of everything nowadays, you just don't overproduce something if you know you're not gonna use it because it's expensive. So, and I believe, does that have, their product, does that have to be on top of concrete or some type of a steel base?
I don't know.
My assumption
Well,
is,
That they're governed by EPA and or
Yeah, absolutely.
all the
yeah, so their temporary
inspections.
plants are gonna have EPA inspections for anytime you start dealing with oil and binders, and they're gonna be on them a lot quicker than, and if anyone has any concerns, I have contacts, very
Okay.
simple, shoot an email, and someone from the EPA will be out there. Like that.
Yeah, so they're not gonna be like permitted to dump excess chemicals off into the ditches or anything?
I mean,
Oh, no,
that's not even my jurisdiction, that's like
I mean, I'm
EPA,
just trying
state
to
level.
find out
Yeah.
who kind of monitors them so that pollution isn't becoming a problem.
Yeah,
Still.
no. Yeah, that's gonna be,
Okay. All right, well, those are our major concerns, is kind of pollution, the odor, if, you know, I mean, I hope it doesn't have an odor, but yeah, that would be really impactful to our communities, so,
You guys have the harbor, right?
yes.
That's pretty nice.
I know, and we're 96% full, we don't wanna have that impacted with,
So you had to put that
with
other sign
tenants.
up, didn't you? See that? When you put
Yeah,
that
we put the other
sign
sign up, we
My husband built that, you know that?
Yeah, yeah.
so,
Carly, there's a lot of,
Action design.
like the city park and other public places where there's sporting events and things like that where they couldn't use concrete and they put down crushed asphalt because cars driving on it didn't create dust and it kept the weeds down. So, you know, that issue was talked about a lot years ago, and that was a solution that pretty much across Nebraska was being used to alleviate those issues, and it was a cheap product to use, so.
Yeah, and thank you for kind of explaining more, I just wasn't sure what this is all gonna entail, what type of operation, you know, but you kind of more explained how they're gonna run, so. So long as there's some standards they're being held to, then I guess we feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, we live here too.
I know you do, so it's, just so you always get nervous when different industries start. It's a very up and coming town, and I've lived here my whole life, so I wanted to stay nice, so.
Absolutely.
Just thanks for answering questions and
Thank you.
your time, so.
Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll close the public hearing. A discussion of questions, planning board members, of anybody in the room? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, recommend approval.
Mark, second. Brian? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call? Oh,
Larry?
Well, this one didn't have a room full of people.
Lynn's gotta get the dinner for mom.
that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Larry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Mark made the motion, Brian
Yes.
seconded. Kyle?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All in favor? Okay, item number 5, request Waiver request, Jerry Smith, Site Design Standards, Highway Overlay District. Hopefully we'll get rid of this one tonight.
So I met with him
He's not here.
last week, 2 weeks ago, and I sent him an email and I told him it was today. So, my assumption is once I write him a letter and tell him that he has a structure that is not permitted, he's gonna come back. So I have a feeling that it's gonna come back to you guys again, but,
What if we make a motion to deny his request tonight?
I suppose, Dave, if he's not here, can they still deny the request?
Sure. You had noticed.
I mean,
Which means he has to take it down?
or he has to make it match 10% of his building. So, he didn't show up. I don't know, that's what I told him, and
He
he said,
doesn't care, I mean.
he said, what do you want me to do? I said, well, you're gonna have to make it match 10%. And he said, well, what happened to 30%? And I told him, I said, we all discussed, I gave them the option 10, 20, 30, and between planning and council, the 10% number was what was agreed on, so yeah, I mean, I guess if you guys wanna deny it, then I'll just send them an email tomorrow morning and say it's been denied.
Clarify what we're talking about? Are
This-
we talking about that 10?
Yes, yeah.
He called it a 10.
So what's the 10%?
So, last two,
You have
three,
to have some,
3 months ago, we did all that accessory structure stuff, if you remember,
okay.
where you could not abide by the commercial design standards if your structure, if your accessory structure had these certain items, it had to be used for dead storage, it couldn't have electrical, it couldn't have plumbing, right, it couldn't have all these things. And then the discussion was, how much of your primary building would we allow you to put in an accessory building? And the number was between 10 and 30, and everyone voted 10%. So 10% of his building size is not what he put up. That's smaller than that. So he's gonna have to either chop off a couple rungs of that tent, or, I suppose we'll be going back to
Well,
court.
we still have to,
Were those footings ever inspected?
No, well, so that's the,
Did his engineer, he said it was engineered, did you see any drawings?
no,
Not
he
yet.
didn't get a permit.
so no,
Well, I
that,
understand that, but he said he had drawings, I assumed that he was gonna bring them into Ruin to look at.
That's what I was.
So, I think
Evidently,
he brought some in, but nothing was ever, I mean, now that this is denied, it's easier because if he brings me a permit, you have to abide by these standards, and then he's gonna need to provide things. He's gonna need to provide all that when he creates a permit for me. He's gonna need to provide all the engineered drawings, he's gonna have to shrink it down to match the 10% size, and then we're gonna have to figure out how we test these footings, whether it's,
well, there ain't no testing, you take them out. and
Take 'em up. No, you
They
take
need
'em
to be
up.
inspected.
I don't see how the city can not be liable if this thing isn't properly anchored.
Right.
Especially we're in tornado season.
Yep.
That thing lifts up and goes out on 275.
and that's what I told him, I said, listen, unless your engineer, if they can x-ray or sonar or something, but how do I know that the footings are correct? So,
If it happens today, it would probably break him. I don't think he'd have enough insurance to cover what that thing went rolling out onto the road and something happened.
and that's where this whole entire conversation started, because he clearly wasn't within the design standards. If he built a structure that was within the design standards, he has plenty of impervious coverage and building coverage to add a bunch of these buildings, but he didn't want to build them to that. He wanted to build these engineered tent to house his
So I'm
stuff.
gonna make a motion to deny his request, because we have to do that. We're not gonna approve his request, so we need to deny it.
It'd be kind of hard for him to plead, yeah, I mean, he's not here to plead his case for it, so I don't,
Well, he can come back and try something else if he wants, I guess, like after he
Take
appeals.
it down and rebuild it
Well, yeah,
with a permit.
yeah.
Correctly.
Well, that's my motion. Have we got a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Roll call.
Who seconded it? Because I heard three.
Mark.
Mark did? Okay. Larry made the motion. Scott?
Yes.
Mark second. Brian?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
All in favor, motion carried. Item 6, which is all you,
Oh,
Ron.
he's already there.
I'm,
Jumping at the bit. Let's go.
I'm ready. So,
He's gotta get out of here.
I originally had it as R4 zoning. After Greg and I talked, it made less sense to create yet another zoning. So the idea was to amend the current residential that we have. So there's been a lot of talk about statewide ADU, accessory dwelling units. Essentially, this is really the push for affordable housing because it's pretty dang hard to get affordable housing anywhere. ADUs kind of can bridge that gap. Essentially, parents move out of the main house, kids and grandkids move in, they move into something in the back. It's been pretty successful in Omaha, kind of creating a little higher density. The problem is, one, our lot widths show 50 feet. Obviously, if we are, in my opinion, if we're encouraging a developer to provide affordable housing, and we're telling him you have to put a single family dwelling on a 50-foot lot, and he's got 200 feet, well, obviously you can fit a lot more if you do 40-foot lots than 50-foot lots. They still have to abide by the same setbacks. They still have to abide by the same impervious, which affects the stormwater. All this would do is increase, first of all, it would decrease the lot width requirement from 50 to 40 feet, and then it would change the building coverage from 35% to 40%. 5% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got a 10,000 square foot lot, I mean, it can add up pretty quick depending on what you want to do. So there's also, that's for the R2. Then there's just a little note here. Again, I like to clean up these things. They had 18 feet per unit for lot width, but then if you look at number 8, it says all interior units must be 20 feet wide. So the 18, I'm just cleaning it up to 20 to make it match the note that's directly under it. That's all that was. But yeah, the first is changing the lot width, decreasing it from 50 to 40, and then changing building coverage, upping it from 35 to 40% in R2. Very similar with R3, except there's an additional note here. We've got a development coming up in Valley, and I would agree. There's really no difference between having 3 or 4 units connected in these townhomes. For some reason, we had it written in here as 3. 4 is very common to see a townhome, a 4-plex. Of course, all these 4-plexes, they still have to match. That's again, the reason for increasing some of these building coverages. If you've got a middle lot, let me rephrase that. They all get grouped together, but still, if you've got an entire lot and it's got a 4-plex in it, your building coverage needs to be a little higher to account for that. So that's just updating, changing to 4 units instead of 3 being attached. And then adding a number F, which is accessory structure setback from lake allowed to be 0 feet with engineered seawall. So this was specifically
Boat storage type of building, is that what you're saying? Or just like a shed?
Like a deck, gazebo, there's some out in flat water, right up on the lake. Again, my concern was protecting the homeowner. You put up a nice gazebo and your sand sloughs off. Okay, that's where the engineered seawall comes in. That's why I wrote it like that, not just that there's a 0% setback, 0 foot setback from the lake. It's with an engineered seawall. And of course, especially the R3s, they all have their own covenants. So this is just the minimum. If,
Sites and all that.
Blue Water 2.0, they could say, hey, our lakeside setback is gonna be 30 feet. Cool. So that's the changes that I'm proposing on R2 and R3.
Are these, when you put 4 of these units, where there was gonna be 3, and I'm assuming they're gonna have 2-car garages still?
So I actually already have some plans that were sent to me, because I said, how's this gonna look? I don't know if you're going with this question where I think you are, but if it's driveways, then yes, because they wanted to jam all the driveways together. And per our ordinances, and this is what I told the developer, our driveways have to be 3 feet from the property line. That includes a property line that a townhome or a condominium is at. So I'm not gonna let you go, okay, here's 3 feet, and then here's a 30-foot driveway, here's 3 feet, 30-foot driveway, you're gonna get a parking lot look. So I've already, because that was I saw the plans and I was like, this is absolutely not. And we have code already written in that you have to have a 6-foot buffer. You have to be 3 feet and 3 feet. Now, they're probably gonna have walks that go into their doors, which Setbacks, again, that has to do with drainage, things start to get great, but the driveways, they have to be 3 feet apart, so you have minimum a 6-foot gap between each driveway. Yeah, and I believe the ones that I saw, there were double garages in the middle, and then maybe single on the outside. They might have been double on the outside too, but besides that, they were actually very nice looking, except the parking lot look, and I've already established that we're not doing that, so.
Can we vote on this, Dave? It wasn't on the agenda. I mean, it wasn't published.
Was it published?
No.
Yeah, it was published, building inspector dash R4 zoning. There's no hearing on it.
That's the problem.
I got a conditional permit waiver from Sidney Sanders Highway overlay. Is that the one?
This is a code amendment. You have to basically advertise for a public hearing if you're gonna make an amendment.
Okay.
So this was more just
This is
Information.
information for you guys.
Okay.
Again, if you guys had anything, I can change these, and when I bring it up next month officially, but if you guys are okay with it or have any suggestions, let me know, but
Can you give us could you print off a few pictures of what that looks like?
I can.
Just
Think of Ginger Woods, the two.
Condos, right?
Yeah,
Just similar,
Right.
not exactly, but it's kind of like a.
just chop off 2 of them, because those are 6, but
Okay.
these would be just 4s.
Okay.
There's a lot in Lincoln.
Those are wider though, aren't they?
Oh, I don't,
Those are a lot wider.
I don't know about the
They
time.
might be, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
in general, it's kind of.
Yeah, I'm just
Mentally-
kind of visually thinking 40 feet wide and you got a 20-foot door.
There's actually some single-family,
It's gonna look like storage garages with side
Probably
entrances.
won't all be 2 cars.
what I saw, if you look at
Ginger Woods are 36, sorry.
okay, yeah.
Oh, really?
So if you look at, a lot of the smaller lots we already have,
Just make it.
you've got your double and you have your drive, but, yeah, we're gonna have more parking if we have higher density. I mean, trust me, I'm trying to avoid the parking lot look too, but if we can, I mean, knock on wood, sell a new single-family home for $400,000. Sounds insane, but that's a heck of a steal. So, and that's a 40-foot lot, again, some items that we can potentially squeeze a little more value out of the lot itself, so.
Thanks, Ron. Is there anything else
Yep.
coming up? Drew, is there anything else coming up?
Yeah, dinner.
We're going with Drew.
Gotta go.
Tell your mom happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Not that I can think of, so, thanks guys.
Don't plan a dinner next month, Ron.
David, you got anything for us? Nothing? Can't make nothing up or nothing?
I wouldn't want to make it up.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor unless you want to stay. I don't know if they'll let you though. Bill, you gotta go home.
Larry, can you make the motion to adjourn?
Greg.
Who second?
I
Who
did.
seconded? You did?
I did.
Thank you.
Where you going, Mark?
I'm disappointed. Greg didn't have a different speech.
Well, pal, what do you think?